We were raised to believe healing is something done to us, not something that arises from us. From early childhood, we're taught to look outward, to pills, procedures, specialists, and systems. And while modern medicine has its place, somewhere along the way we forgot something vital. The body is not just a machine, and consciousness is not just a side effect of the brain. What if healing isn't about fixing broken parts, but about remembering an original wholeness that was never truly lost? Pause for a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time you trusted your body's intelligence more than someone else's opinion about it? Most of us at some level have been conditioned to fear the unknown signals of our inner world. A sore throat becomes a potential illness, a racing heart becomes a threat. We outsource our trust. But the truth is, your body doesn't betray you. It whispers what your consciousness hasn't yet dared to hear. Healing in its truest form is not about patching up symptoms. It's about restoring coherence between who we are and how we live. And coherence can't be injected, ingested, or bought. It can only be remembered. We live in a world that glorifies intervention. Something's wrong? Fix it. Cut it. Medicate it. Distract it. But what if the very discomfort we try to escape is the doorway to integration? Quantum healing isn't a new technique. It's a return, a reawakening to the idea that everything in your system, from the flutter of thought to the beat of your cells, is already in dialogue. Your mind, your emotions, your tissues, your memories, they're entangled in a vast field of meaning. What we call symptoms may not be errors, but messages. They are not enemies to eliminate, but messengers to decode. The pain in your shoulder? Maybe it's not just physical strain. Maybe it's the weight of words never spoken. The tightness in your chest? Perhaps it isn't only stress. Perhaps it's the pressure of living a life that's not fully yours. Quantum healing begins the moment we stop blaming the body and start listening to it. When we stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and instead ask, "What's trying to get my attention?" Science now tells us that observation collapses probability into reality. That's not just a cool physics trick, it's a profound human metaphor. Your attention isn't passive. It's a creative force. Wherever you place it, fear, love, shame, hope, you breathe life into possibility. What you repeatedly focus on becomes your biological signature. The body doesn't know the difference between a real trauma and a remembered one. But it also doesn't know the difference between real healing and envisioned healing. If you feel it, the body believes it. You see, healing doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in a field, an energetic field of intention, belief, emotion, and attention. And this field responds to you. Not to the mask you wear for the world, but to the frequency you embody when no one's watching. The body listens to the story you keep telling it, and it shapes itself, atom by atom, in response to that narrative. Every time you say, "I am anxious," your body aligns to fulfill that command. Every time you say, "I am healing," something inside softens in agreement. That is the quantum nature of language. Your words don't just describe reality, they encode it. So many of our ailments are born from disconnection. We live at odds with our own rhythm. We override rest with productivity. We silence emotion with logic. We dismiss intuition in favor of data. And yet, every night when we sleep, the body does what it's designed to do. It heals. Without our effort, without our management. Just imagine what could happen if we aligned with that natural intelligence more consciously. The old paradigm says, push harder, seek more. But the quantum way whispers, become still, listen deeper. The real medicine isn't always the most expensive treatment or the most impressive scan. Sometimes it's the act of sitting with your own breath and asking, what am I refusing to feel? Where in your life are you still waiting for something external to fix you? Where have you given your power away in the name of help? The invitation here is not to reject outer support, but to reclaim inner authority. You are not broken. You are becoming aware. And awareness, true embodied quantum awareness, is the beginning of all healing. If part 1 reminded you that healing begins inside, part 2 asks you to look closer, deep into the quantum mirror, where your inner world reflects, refracts, and reshapes the outer one. We often think reality is something that happens to us, but quantum principles tell a very different story, that the observer and the observed are forever entangled. And in the world of healing, this means your consciousness isn't just a spectator. It's the artist, the canvas, and the brush. Let's step back and imagine the body not as a container of organs, but as a vibrating field, a dynamic ecosystem of frequency. Every thought has a vibration. Every emotion emits a tone. The more coherent your field, the more your body knows what to do. The more dissonant your inner world, the harder it becomes to sustain balance. And here's the key. Your consciousness, your awareness of your own thoughts, emotions, and intentions, tunes that field. Like a violinist fine-tuning the strings, your presence adjusts the music of your biology. Most people live as if they are separate from their health, as if illness randomly arrives or wellness is luck. But quantum physics dismantles this illusion. In the quantum realm, particles only behave a certain way when observed. The famous double-slit experiment shows that light and matter act differently depending on whether someone is watching. This is often misused or misquoted in spiritual circles, but the essence is still stunning. Your attention collapses possibilities into form. You are not a passive being in the backseat of life. You are an active participant shaping the very fabric of your experience. Think about that. What stories do you keep repeating about your health, your past, your worthiness? What assumptions do you hold about what's possible for your healing? Are you waiting for evidence before you believe in change? Or are you willing to believe in change so fully that it becomes your evidence? Quantum entanglement also offers another lens. Two particles can remain connected across time and space, mirroring each other instantly. On a human level, this shows up in ways we've all experienced. The instant you think of someone and they call, the collective anxiety that builds when a tragedy happens across the globe, the way unresolved emotional wounds show up in the body as physical tension. We are not isolated nodes. We are part of a vast network, and our inner signal affects the whole web. The body is constantly listening, adapting, responding, not just to chemicals, but to frequency. This is why thoughts rooted in fear, guilt, or unworthiness are not just mental noise, they are energetic commands. The body hears and obeys. So many of us say, "I'll believe it when I see it." But in the quantum field, it works the other way around. You see it because you believe it. You perceive what you expect. And this has profound implications for healing. If you expect to stay stuck, you reinforce the very resonance that binds you. But if you begin to expect integration, peace, and coherence, not as fantasy but as your nature, you begin to shift. Have you noticed how people who believe they're unlucky often walk into trouble, while those who believe they're loved and protected seem to move through life with grace? It's not magic, it's resonance. And resonance is the unspoken law of the quantum mirror. What you are inwardly, you will meet outwardly. And yet this isn't about blame. Don't use this truth to punish yourself for your illness or your pain. Use it as a doorway to empowerment. Ask yourself gently, what am I resonating with today? Is this pattern I'm living out my truth, or just my conditioning? The quantum mirror doesn't lie, but it does reflect your opportunity to choose again. Remember, your consciousness is not separate from the field. It is the field, localized, embodied, and aware. Healing becomes possible the moment you shift from "I have a problem" to "I am the space in which problems dissolve." This is not abstract philosophy. It is living reality. It is why spontaneous remissions happen, why trauma can be stored for years and released in a breath, why someone in deep meditation can affect the nervous systems of people sitting near them. This is coherence in action. This is entanglement as embodiment. Your biology is plastic. Your neural networks are adaptable. Your emotional patterns are reprogrammable. But only if you dare to stop identifying with what's familiar and begin identifying with what's true, the self behind the story. So, what frequency are you tuning your life to right now? Chaos or coherence? Despair or alignment? The mirror will show you what you are ready to see. And the moment you acknowledge your reflection, the field begins to change. So now we step into the hidden chambers of your inner world, the ones that store emotion like old letters in a drawer, unopened yet shaping the space around them. If energy is the currency of the quantum field, then emotions are its language. But what happens when emotions remain unspoken, unprocessed, unacknowledged? They don't disappear, they become static, they harden into patterns. They form emotional entropy, the slow, quiet drain of vitality that keeps you locked into timelines that no longer serve you. Most people carry wounds they've never dared to name. The argument you had as a child that made you feel small. The heartbreak you never fully let yourself grieve. The betrayal that still stings, buried beneath layers of logic and "I'm over it." These aren't just memories. They are living programs, vibrational signatures still active in your field. And just like gravity, they pull you toward repeating outcomes. Have you ever noticed how similar the conflicts in your life feel? Different people, same pain? That's emotional entropy at work. Not because you're broken, but because you've grown familiar with the frequency of pain. The body, ever loyal to your inner code, mirrors what it senses you expect. You become the echo chamber of your own unresolved story. But here's the radical truth. Suppressed emotions don't weaken with time. They deepen. They hide behind smiles, productivity, politeness. They disguise themselves as fatigue, procrastination, even illness. Not to punish you, but to protect you. Because in the quantum field, nothing is lost, only transformed or held in waiting. Your sadness, your rage, your disappointment, they are not dysfunctions. They are frozen signals waiting for your presence. We've all heard "let it go." But you can't let go of what you've never held with compassion. Real release isn't about detaching, it's about witnessing. It's about breathing through the ache long enough for the nervous system to realize the past is no longer happening. That's how you collapse the possibility of repetition. Not by resisting emotion, but by reintegrating it. This is where the healing begins to take on quantum momentum. Because once you acknowledge a trapped emotion, you open a new timeline. You alter the electromagnetic field around your heart. You send out a different signal, not of avoidance, but of readiness, and the field responds. Many ask, why do I keep ending up in the same relationships, the same failures, the same cycles? It's not karma, it's coherence. You are in vibrational resonance with your unprocessed past. Until you change the inner pattern, the outer world must match it. This is not punishment, it's precision. The quantum field is exact. It cannot give you what you aren't tuned to receive. So the work isn't about chasing new outcomes. It's about becoming a new container, a vessel capable of holding greater coherence. That begins with emotional honesty. When you admit what you feel, you return energy to flow. When you sit in stillness and say, yes, that hurt, the particle shifts, the possibility collapses, and a new one forms. This is why healing often looks like grieving, like breaking down, like feeling more than you thought you could. Because you are not falling apart, you are making space. You are dissolving old architecture so new patterns can form. In quantum terms, this is the moment when the wave collapses into a new particle. In human terms, it is when the future begins to change. What in you is still being denied the right to exist? What emotion have you locked away so deeply that even you forgot it was there? The truth is, you don't need to fix it. You just need to feel it. And when you do, the body, a master alchemist, begins the transformation on its own. And here's something you might not have been told. Your emotions are intelligent, not just reactions, but indicators, pointing you back toward what matters. Anger isn't just rage, it's the heat of a boundary being crossed. Grief isn't weakness, it's proof that you once loved something deeply. Anxiety isn't always disorder, it's often the signal that you're living out of sync with your truth. So when did we decide to pathologize the very compass meant to guide us? Somewhere in our cultural addiction to comfort and control, we started fearing our own depth. But quantum healing demands depth. It requires us to become emotionally fluent, not numb. To truly heal is to allow the heart to crack open, not to break, but to breathe. Because every time you choose to feel rather than flee, you create space for new potentials. You don't just clear the past, you rewire the future. Your future. Let this be your reminder. Your emotions are not enemies of your healing. They are the portal. And the longer you delay walking through, the longer the past remains your present. So the invitation is simple but powerful. Sit with your feeling, let it name itself. Then watch it dissolve into energy again. Because that is what it always was. Once we've begun to honor our emotions and release the weight of our past, we arrive at the next frontier of healing: recalibration. This is where healing moves from insight to embodiment, where understanding transforms into energetic reality. In quantum healing, recalibration isn't about forcing change, it's about restoring natural coherence. Like tuning a radio dial, your job is not to manufacture the signal, but to find it, to align with what's already whole inside you. Your body is not waiting for a new instruction. It's waiting for clarity. Beneath layers of trauma, conditioning, and distraction lies a frequency of wellness that's always been broadcasting. The nervous system, the fascia, the endocrine loops, all of it responds not just to chemistry, but to your consciousness. And when your thoughts, emotions, and actions become aligned, your biology shifts accordingly. There's a word for this: coherence. Coherence is what happens when the heart and brain are in rhythm, when intention and attention flow in the same direction. It's not some esoteric concept. Studies from institutes like HeartMath show that emotional states like gratitude and compassion create measurable shifts in the body's electromagnetic field. When you're coherent, your cells communicate more efficiently, your hormones regulate more harmoniously, your immune system strengthens. You become a symphony, not a collision of noise. And coherence begins with stillness. You cannot recalibrate in chaos. Most of us spend our lives reacting, pinging from thought to thought, worry to worry, headline to headline. But healing lives in the pauses, in the breath you remember to take before the spiral. In the moment you put your hand on your heart and simply say, "I am here." That's where real power lives, not in perfection, but in presence. Think of it like this: the quantum field is a sea of probabilities, and your vibration selects what becomes reality. But your vibration is not your personality. It's your inner rhythm, set by how you feel when no one is watching. The stories you repeat, the emotions you nourish, the boundaries you honor. Healing happens when your internal signal becomes consistent enough to attract a new pattern. Not because you're doing it right, but because you've stopped contradicting yourself. And yet, most of us live in contradiction. We say we want peace, but we feed drama. We seek love, but reject ourselves. We desire health, but carry the vibration of fear. This dissonance isn't just emotional, it's electrical. And the body, ever the faithful instrument, tries to play both songs at once. The result: exhaustion, confusion, imbalance. So what's the antidote? Simplicity. Coherence is not about doing more, it's about doing less from a place of alignment. You don't need 10 modalities and 20 steps. You need presence. You need to become honest about what no longer fits, what still drains you, what feels misaligned. Then gently, consistently, begin choosing again. Meditation, breathwork, prayer, mindful movement, these aren't spiritual luxuries. They are recalibration tools, practices that quiet the noise so you can hear your own frequency again. And the more you hear it, the more you trust it. And the more you trust it, the more your reality begins to change. Ask yourself, what energy do I start each day in? Do I tune into fear, stress, and urgency? Or do I begin in silence, in gratitude, in the spaciousness of being? That one shift, the way you greet the day, can begin to rewire your entire field. This is where the body becomes not just the site of healing, but the instrument of it. When you speak lovingly to your cells, they respond. When you choose nourishing food with intention, your tissues remember. When you walk barefoot on the earth and feel the pulse of life beneath you, you restore connection that modern life has dulled. Healing is less about adding and more about allowing. It is the natural state your system returns to when interference dissolves. Let this truth settle into you. Your body wants to heal. It is wired for regeneration, not degradation. Every 7 years, nearly every cell in your body is replaced. Your skin renews itself every month. Your liver can regrow even if partially removed. This isn't just biology, it's a reflection of the energetic potential within you. But renewal doesn't happen in resistance. It happens in surrender. Not in passivity, but in presence. Presence is the great recalibrator. The moment you fully arrive in your body, in your breath, in your now, you emit a different signal. And that signal doesn't just reach your bloodstream or your muscles, it reaches the field around you. Other people can feel it. Spaces hold it. Life responds to it. And from there, healing becomes less of a task and more of a tone, a frequency you carry into every moment, every relationship, every choice. You stop looking for breakthroughs and start becoming one. You stop trying to attract the energy of health and begin embodying it. That is the real power of recalibration. Not that it changes things for you, but that it reminds you, you were the signal all along. There comes a moment in every healing journey when you realize the search is over. Not because you found the missing piece, but because you've become the space where nothing is missing. This is the heart of quantum healing. Not chasing alignment, but being it. Because the frequency you seek isn't outside of you. It is you, stripped of distortion, remembered in truth. Up until now, maybe you thought manifesting meant working harder, thinking more positively, crafting perfect vision boards. But at the quantum level, manifestation is less about calling something in and more about collapsing into a version of you where it's already real. It is about identity, not effort. Resonance, not repetition. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. Not in a punishing way, but in an exquisitely precise, vibrational way. The field does not listen to your words, it listens to your coherence. That's why so many people affirm endlessly without change. Because deep down, they are still resonating with lack, with doubt, with fear. So the final key isn't to say new things, it's to become new energy. To feel the feeling first. To embody the reality you're calling in before it arrives. Not because you're pretending, but because you know that in the quantum realm, time is nonlinear. The version of you that is healed, whole, free, it already exists. And when your frequency matches that version, you meet it. Think about the most magnetic people you've ever known. They don't strive, they radiate. That radiance isn't luck, it's alignment. It's the result of inner congruence between belief, behavior, and biology. They don't try to be loving, they are love. They don't try to attract abundance, they live in the knowing that they are not separate from it. And here's the miracle, you don't have to wait years to get there. Transformation doesn't take time. It takes readiness, it takes honesty, it takes surrender. The moment you stop needing to earn healing, you remember it was never a prize to begin with. It was a permission slip. And you've had the pen in your hand the whole time. Let your daily life be the practice ground for embodiment. Don't wait for the retreat or the breakthrough moment. When you wash the dishes, do it with presence. When you walk through the door, carry the energy of someone who knows they're worthy of love. When you speak, let your words align with the self you're becoming. This is the path of frequency. You don't hustle your way into healing, you harmonize your way into it. You hold yourself to a new energetic standard, not out of pressure, but out of reverence. Because once you've tasted coherence, dissonance no longer feels like home. So ask yourself, who am I being today? What version of me is guiding this moment? Is it the self still trying to survive, or the self ready to expand? Is it the self that believes in limitation, or the self that remembers they are made of light, pattern, possibility? Your job isn't to chase the healed version of you. It's to clear what blocks you from feeling it right now. Sometimes that means rest. Sometimes it means fierce boundaries. Sometimes it means radical joy or deep grief. But always, it means truth. Because frequency doesn't lie. And your truth, when embodied, is magnetic. You are not broken reaching for healing. You are healing, remembering you were never broken. The quantum leap is not a jump forward. It's a return inward, a choice to drop the script, feel the field, and let the moment rewrite you. And as you become this frequency, life meets you with different responses. Doors open without force. The right people feel drawn in. The body begins to trust again. You wake up one day and realize you're not waiting anymore. You're living it, not perfectly, but powerfully. And that is the beginning of real manifestation. Because quantum healing is not a destination, it's a devotion to staying in resonance with what's true over and over until reality has no choice but to echo your alignment. And no, this doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. It doesn't mean life becomes a constant high. What it does mean is that you develop an unwavering center, a core that no longer panics when waves come. Because now you know, you are not the storm. You are the ocean that holds it. That awareness is the ultimate medicine. That presence is the ultimate practice. It may take time for the external world to catch up, but that's okay, because quantum healing is not about speed. It's about precision. The moment you shift internally, the field begins rearranging. Invisible threads realign, synchronicities emerge, and though the effects may be subtle at first, they are undeniable. You begin to feel lighter, clearer, more whole. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. So if you're still wondering where to start, the answer is simple. Start here. Start now. Close your eyes. Place your hand over your heart. Breathe. And ask yourself, what would it feel like to already be whole? Then listen. Let that answer become your new signal. Quantum healing is not about escaping reality. It's about revealing it. It's about peeling back the conditioned layers that told you healing must come from somewhere else, that your wholeness is something you must earn. But now you know better. Healing doesn't arrive. It awakens. And it awakens the moment you remember who you've always been. An expression of frequency, a participant in the field, a conscious being capable of coherence. You are not a collection of symptoms. You are not a walking diagnosis. You are a field of intelligence, capable of shifting your biology through awareness, intention, and embodiment. This isn't spiritual fluff. It's energetic architecture. Your presence is medicine. Your alignment is your strategy, and your attention is your most sacred currency. So here's the invitation. Don't just think about this. Live it. Feel it in your morning breath, your daily choices, your self-talk, your silence. Because the version of you who is already healed is not far away. They are simply a frequency away. One breath, one decision, one deep, present moment away. And maybe, just maybe, your healing isn't just for you. Maybe it's the ripple that awakens someone else. If this resonated, share your reflection or subscribe for more soul-fueled awakenings.